stunts of 2023.
Stunts. The most dangerous.
I am not really a
aside
stunts
from
fan,
man himself, of
but I
course,
mean,
even that requires some
props to the guys who
old-fashioned
do
stunt
it.
work. When it comes to risking life and limb for our entertainment, some of Hollywood's finest certainly tried to outdo themselves this year.
Of course, you got what's his name? Guy who loves jumping on couches.
It's been a two-horse race between everybody's favorite vengeful
Just a
assassin
rebrand.
and the world's most famous top-secret spy. When it came to the,
I guess IGN covers movies as well. I had no idea.
And the answer is yes. Kinda, but also not really. This year's best stunt race was one of escalation, not just jumping from higher heights.
John
or killing
Wick.
goons at a geometric
What is
rate,
that dude's
but
name
each of our
again?
entries
Tom
seems to have
Cruise.
figured out a way to just be more.
Keanu Reeves,
Sequels, of
Tom
course, are all
Cruise,
we get. So in
Chris
a way, it makes
Hemsworth.
sense that the most memorable stunts of the year were franchises one-upping their previous entries, beginning with our scrappy little kinda underdog.
Kind of
Netflix's
underdog.
Extraction shares more than a little DNA with John Wick. There's a focus on fight choreography. It's helmed by a stuntman in Sam Hargrave who worked his way up through the ranks to get his shot at a director's chair. It's led by a star in Chris Hemsworth who enjoys getting his hands dirty. And, thanks to Extraction 2, it's now a franchise ramping up the insanity.
These men are killers.
Yeah, so am I.
I don't know.
One of the highlights of the first Extraction was a lengthy oneer, or a faux oneer at least, several shots stitched together to make one continuous bit of action. To pull it off, Hargrave strapped himself to the hood of a car to operate the camera for part of it. Naturally, the next logical place to go was to operate the camera mere feet from a helicopter landing on top of a moving train.
Yeah, it was dangerous, and that's why I wanted to be the guy walking under the helicopter.
Extraction 2 oneer so determined.
He's like, yeah, it was dangerous. I wanted to do
His
it.
counterpart, the sun comes up part of the way through it. It's on screen longer, the stakes are bigger, the enemies more numerous and with bigger guns. Also, there was more fire. But that was 9 minutes into the oneer and 7 minutes before Hargrave moves the camera, and I'm speaking literally here because again, he had it on his shoulder for the shot, beneath the helicopter as it drops a skid onto the roof of a moving train and deposits 5 mercenaries to continue the pursuit of Hemsworth's Tyler Rake.
You okay?
Man, I gotta watch these movies.
Inarguably,
This look
a
all right.
cool shot. One that took very real skill, care, and ingenuity to pull off, but unfortunately, one that only 4.1%.
What's up, denying?
Win. The only
You saw the second one? Did you see the first one?
It is the rest of the oneer. It's a relatively quiet moment in a 21-minute non-stop action sequence that makes up 19% of the film's runtime, in which Hemsworth would eventually blow up that same helicopter. So I guess it's easy to overlook in that respect, but an incredible feat of filmmaking in literally every other. Maybe in Extraction 3, they'll
Morbid
figure out how to land
curiosity.
the train on a
I
helicopter.
wonder how it feels to die. Let's go ahead and try that
In
today.
another franchise born outside of the studio system, John Wick continued to headshot his way through the fantasy
Keanu Reeves.
in Chapter 4. This is a franchise that has arguably perfected the art of escalation. What started as a $20 million gun fu exhibition of efficiency in filmmaking ballooned into a nearly 3-hour runtime and a cast of characters to match. So it's not surprising that 16.3% of our votes went to one of the new guys.
That's you? Don't think so, pizza.
Donnie Yen's Kane, like Mark Dacascos' Zero in Chapter 3, serves the purpose
You're
of
him?
expanding
Yeah.
the world of
That's
the
because
franchise
John Wick
by
comes
way
and finds
of
you.
new and eccentric characters. And thanks to god-tier escalation, an eccentric sushi chef in Chapter 3 is escalated to a blind assassin in Chapter 4 and almost steals the show.
Nothing personal, John.
Our voters were given the option of, quote, Kane's Osaka hotel fight, which is fittingly nondescript. It seemed like Kane had several Osaka hotel fights, one in the kitchen against some cannon fodder, one in the weapons room with John himself, and another great one with Hiroyuki Sanada's Koji. That they all
Oh,
run
nice. I
together
like
into
that
a
actor.
Singularly votable sequence is as much a testament to Donnie Yen's charismatic brand of ass-kicking as it is to director Chad Stahelski doubling down on the right things.
Okay, so what did they do there?
I'm sorry.
He just did all of his own stunts?
Narratively, the franchise has always dug deeper into the High Table's lore. Where the action is concerned, Stahelski digs with equal giddiness into his bag of tricks. The Osaka Continental sequence showcases Kane's ingenuity with his doorbell chimes in the kitchen, his scrambling improv skills against John, and his sense of honor against Koji. By the time we leave Japan, we know everything there is to know about Kane and what he can do. And the only thing left is to escalate it.
You dead, John?
It is
You dead, John?
impossible
Are
to
you
talk
dead,
about stunts
John?
in 2023 and escalation.
Well, if he answers you,
franchises
you're
without
not dead.
talking about Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. I tried, and I even had to use the word
Mission Impossible.
twice.
Now I know he actually
Every
did
second,
do that
but
jump
here we are.
over that cliff,
Tom
bro.
Cruise's lifelong dream of driving a motorcycle
He's insane,
off a
though.
cliff was all the trailer Dead Reckoning Part 1 needed, and
Yeah.
for better and
That's
worse,
real.
really
Like, this
defined
is
the movie
real.
as a whole. We were so familiar with the image, the sheer audacity of the stunt, even how they pulled it off thanks to an extensive
That's crazy.
behind-the-scenes featurette, that much of the 2 hours leading up to the jump were spent just kind of wondering when the jump was coming. I would also argue, because we'd seen the practice jumps and behind-the-scenes footage so much, the digital elements of the finished product were that much more obvious.
Like, he's nuts.
What do you do? Well, just, jump.
All that said, it was an incredible stunt. It combined driving,
Absolutely.
skills,
He's like
skydiving,
Daredevil.
building a
Modern age
ramp on a
Daredevil.
Norwegian cliffside, and was ultimately far more front and center than Extraction 2's helicopter or a sequence of Donnie Yen's blades in the front half of a 3-hour bloodbath. On pure chutzpah alone, there's nothing to top it, but it still came in second place.
Okay, I need you to take a step back and pull yourself together because I am under a lot of pressure right now.
With a healthy 32.7% of
Crazy.
the votes, it was on top of a lot of people's lists, but it seems to have been docked a few points for a reason. To venture a guess as to why, I'd say that Ethan Hunt jumping off a cliff at that moment didn't really matter. The sequence leading up to it, with Benji helping Ethan get back on the train, is a reverse-engineered half-joke whose sole purpose is to put Tom Cruise in a spot where he needs to jump off a cliff. There is nothing organic about why he's there. Not like the reasons he climbed the Burj Khalifa in Ghost Protocol, or clung to the outside of a plane in Rogue Nation.
How did you get in the plane?
Not in the plane. I'm on the
Yeah, he also did the
This
plane
was a
thing
stunt
too.
for Stunts'
He's
sake,
crazy.
which, while I don't begrudge the man for doing it, did cost him the top spot in our best stunts category. But speaking of lengthy runtimes where you're just kind of waiting on a reveal of a thing you know is coming, let's get to that top spot. Well, hello again, Mr. Wick. Like
John
struggling
Wick.
up a famous staircase only to fall down and have to struggle up again, I'm going to bang this escalation drum until we're all tired of it. But at 46.9% of the votes, I really believe we got this one right.
This golden oldie goes out to you, Mr. Wick.
The overhead shootout sequence in John Wick Chapter 4 does a little bit of everything
Damn.
the rest of our nominees did, and then some. It's
Does
an
look nice,
extended
though.
take, over 2 minutes, with intricate choreography in a space that affords set pieces like an exploding cooktop from which to backflip. It escalates the weaponry by giving Jonathan...
Oh, they mean like overhand,
shotgun
like
shot,
this.
So his bullets
Like,
literally look
like
different,
looks
but
down
those
on
things
everybody.
aren't
That's
that
cool.
different than what Jonathan's been doing for 3 movies in 2 hours to this point. What makes this set piece sing is the camera work.
damn.
Suddenly, rising above the ceiling, we spin the sequence floating from room to room, watching John Wick from a wholly different angle. At this point in the movie, too, it was a much needed bit of juice in the proceedings, as the relentless bludgeoning was starting to get exhausting. But it wasn't a gimmick for the sake of it either. Stahelski and his team of stunt Imagineers used the new camera angle to its fullest, staging battles through the walls, designing holes into the floor to give the shot vertical depth, placing a piano in exactly the right spot for a dog to jump over while a flaming man leaves one room screaming,
Yeah, that's
only to
super
enter
cool.
another moments later to be shot again, keeping perfect pace with the overhead movement of the camera.
His take on action in the way that action and drama
That is so
story
cool. It's like a game, actually.
is my taste.
It is a remarkable scene. In a
Keanu's
franchise
like, I love it.
innovative
It's great.
action choreography, and while nobody landed a real helicopter on a real train, I do
Yeah, what's
think
up,
that
lad?
nearly half of my voting colleagues.
The winner
Our pick
is
of
John
best
Wick
action
Chapter
of the year.
4. Overhead shootout.
Well, that's how the voting
I agree.
for best
That looked
stunts of
amazing.
2023. Let us know what you think about it in the comments below.
mean-
and for the rest of our awards coverage, be sure to like and subscribe to IGN.
IGN. Look great. Absolutely.